Well, hello there, folks. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Miles, and I love helping trainers, presenters, workshop facilitators really take the results to the next level. Today's video, let's get a little bit academic for 2 seconds here, folks. In the world of training and presenting, there are academic theories. Well, you can read a theory and know the theory and feel good about yourself and knowing the theory, and you can be an academic and maybe you can live in the world of university, tertiary, and debate your theory and all that fun stuff. I have a little bit of a biased view that essentially, if you know the theory but can't use the theory, why even have the theory, right? And also, the other aspect to it is if you can't look at a situation and be able to identify the theory or be able to see the underpinning things of what's going on and whether that's working or not, and actually, think through the theory, well, what's the point in having it, really? So I see a lot of people get occasionally lost in the world of theory, but they lose the actual practicality. And great trainers, presenter, workshop facilitators, or masters out there, they're often really good at what they do, but they have no idea about the theory side of things, right? And really, if you want to get extremely good in this world of training and presenting, I mean, it's kind of good to know what's going on. And let's just, in today's video, look at one of those major learning theories and give you some understanding about what it is and how, 4 simple ways you can actually deploy it strategically, right? So I'm going to be releasing 2 videos. I'm going to be releasing video on behaviourist learning theory, right? And then we've got the other one, which is cognitive learning theory, right? I'll be dropping that one very shortly, so you can check that one out. But behaviourist learning theory, let's get into it. Basically, if you Google it, it's going to talk to you about positive and negative reinforcement. Behaviourist learning theory, B.F. Skinner, all that fun stuff, right? And really looking at people doing things because they are rewarded for those behaviours or punished for those behaviours, right? So it's a very clinical way of looking at training. It is a very helpful reference point, right? Because you can start to think about, okay, why does someone do what they do, and how do we encourage more of it, right? Now, you can't train humans like dogs, but there is an aspect to it that essentially we have to appreciate that people actually like to be rewarded. They like to be acknowledged. But the thing is, as adults, strangely enough, we don't actually like it to rigid. We don't like it to be, oh, do this and get a token, or do that and be punished, because that becomes kind of like military training. And as an adult learner turning up to a personal development workshop or something like that, it's too overt. So if you want to deploy behaviourist learning theory, it has to be covert. It has to be under the scenes, so to speak, or behind the scenes, or underpinning everything that's done. And people are feeling good because they are intrinsically, unconsciously, and behind the scenes kind of, we're not talking about it, but it's actually happening kind of level of behaviourist learning theory or behaviourist rewarding, so to speak, right? So let's look at 4 ways that we can really underpin our training with some great behaviourist learning theory reward, but rewards without even being seen. All right, number 1, grab a pen, get ready to write this one down. Number 1, acknowledgement. Everybody likes, as a human, to be like rewarded by acknowledgement. What does that look like? What does that sound like? It's acknowledging people for showing up at all. Right? So thank you so much for turning up to this workshop. Really appreciate all the hard work you had to be here today. Never take it for granted that you're going to be at this workshop, whatever it may be, right? So acknowledging people for turning up, acknowledging people for coming back from breaks on time, acknowledging for how hard they work, regardless of if they work or not, right? Just acknowledge them out of them so that they get a sense of, oh, okay, cool. This is kind of what's expected. I'm being acknowledged for what I'm doing, right? So acknowledge people, thank them, constantly make it a point of highlighting what's going well and tell people what they're doing well, right? Cool. All right. So number 2 is drills. Drills, 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 drill activities. What we mean by that is behaviorist learning theory. We learn by positive reinforcement and doing what we're doing and hearing that what we're doing is correct, right? So people, give them a role play, but give it to them multiple times and give them feedback along the way. Behaviorist learning theory, right? And then other activities as well, simulated tasks, or even, mini presentations, or whatever it may be, whatever topic you're doing, add in lots and lots of moments of activities, but do it multiple times so that people get a sense of progression along the continuum of development. Number three, tell them, God forbid, tell them the session's going to be awesome. Because here's the thing, folks, a lot of people do the opposite. They walk in and go, hello, folks, today's going to be a boring topic, but just bear with me as we go through it, right? And it breaks my heart every single time I hear that, because it's like, why would you do that? Why would you sabotage your own session? And instead, why don't we say, hi guys, today we're going to cover something that's going to be truly empowering, life-changing. It's going to give you skills and knowledge to be able to go back to your workplace or your life and really create massive changes and get some awesome results. Let's jump into it. It kind of makes sense to actually say it the way that you want people to think about it. Don't call it negative and trying to elicit sympathy when that's the last thing that your audience want to do for you, if it's on a topic that they don't feel personally connected to, right? It's your job as a trainer, presenter, facilitator, coach, mentor to make it amazing, because if you want them to think it's amazing, you've got to tell them it's amazing, right? So next one, number 4, when correcting, all right? So be careful when you're correcting people. Tell them what you want them to focus on, right? So if they've got a performance and they don't do so well, you use the magic expressions of yes and. So for example, they do something and it's not so great. We would say, that was really good. Going forward, what I really want you to focus on is X, Y, and Z. And next time you do it, I really want you to focus on X, Y, Z, right? So you really want to encourage them of what you want them to do more of, more of, more of. Don't bother saying the negative stuff. Just try and keep that a little bit under the covers, or not necessarily, or even if it's there, and it's like, let's go, all right, tonality, monotone, right? You're trying to give them feedback around that. You don't say, oh, your presentation was very monotone and boring. Instead, you would say, going forward, that was good. And going forward, I really want you to vary your tonality. Sometimes high, sometimes low. It is, right? Yes. And tell them what you want them to do instead, not correct them and make them feel bad for what they've done, right? So let's recap. Number 1, acknowledge, 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 acknowledge anything and everything they do well, right? Turning up, coming back from breaks on time, the performance they do, whatever it is, acknowledge that out of it. Number 2, drill multiple times so they get a sense of progression, right? Number 3, tell them it will be great, because it will be great if you say it's going to be great. And then last of all, number 4 is how you correct and how you give feedback is critically important. So tell them yes, and next time you do it, I want you to do more of, right? And if they do more of, great, acknowledge them. Right? So at the end of the day, adults don't like to be punished, don't like to be overcorrected, but they do love to feel great by whatever they are doing. Give them some acknowledgement, right? So that, folks, is behaviorist learning theory in action. Hey, if you want to reward them with a chocolate occasionally, feel free, go for it, right? But it can get a little bit corny if you're giving too many prizes away. So try to avoid it and instead look to give them unconscious acknowledgement or covert behaviorist learning theory tactics. On that note, folks, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. That was behaviorist learning theory, 4 tips to make it impactful in your workshops.